Hello and welcome to Theme Park Information. In today's show, we're doing a review for Phantasialand, which is located near Cologne in Germany. Let's start off by saying that they are about to build a new roller coaster in 2018, which is always great to see a theme park develop and improve. And the flying launch coaster is a very interesting concept, and they were keeping it very much hidden while we were there. It should be interesting to see if we go back there and ride that. Right, let's go on to the rides they actually currently have. Let's start with Taron, which is a Intamin mega coaster. It has a few airtime moments, no inversions, a couple of launches, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's very much a top 10 roller coaster. The first launch is pretty damn good. The second launch is just absolutely brutal. There's some excellent airtime. There's lots of intensity and force on this ride. You get flung around in your chair somewhat. It's in an incredibly well themed and well thought out club climb section of the park, which really does add to the experience. Thankfully, I didn't have to queue that long for it as well, which is a massive plus. Some people have obviously been queuing for hours for this ride, and I generally think it's just a really, really good attraction, a really top roller coaster. It's smooth. It was running really well as well when we were there. The music's really good. It has a great soundtrack. Generally can't really think of anything negative to say about it, and that's always a good sign. It's possibly not as good as Helix or Maverick, so that was what I compare it to. Their other major roller coaster is Black Mamba, which is a B&M inverted coaster, and once again this is filled with lots of force and intensity. This does have 4 inversions. It does stay really low to the ground as well, so there's a lot of close calls and near misses. It's pretty difficult to get any photos of because it's as I said, kind of low to ground and kind of hidden by buildings and other theming and scenery and such like, and it's possibly also hidden by the hotel as well. Overall, it's a really, really good ride. Not quite top 10 or anything like that, but it's definitely a positive for the park. It's a good attraction to have, and it's something that is a great backup coaster to Taron as well. They have a couple of other rides. So they have the Colorado Adventure, which is a really top draw mine train. Pretty much it has 3 lift hills, lots of cool drops. Lots of helixes. It's really well themed. It's really good on the back row. Looks somewhat boring on the front. Just going on the back. It's pretty damn cool. There's you don't have to give you that long for that as well either. So that's really good. Then we have Fear and Force, which are 2 indoor roller coasters, both of which are really, really cool. Annoyingly, some of their sections are in the dark. So the footage of them isn't going to be as interesting as it possibly could be, but they're not clones. They do have different elements between each other, which means you can't have to go on both of them, but they are really good fun. They're just generally really enjoyable. They're pretty smooth, pretty fun. Didn't have that long a queue. Possibly could have a slightly better entrance where you get to really pick which one you go on, whereas it's kind of at last minute, a little bit confusing which one you're actually going on sometimes. So it's a good ride, really good ride. Just sadly some of the best elements are kind of in the dark, so they're not great on camera. Talking of in the dark, we do have Temple of the Nighthawk, which is apparently the longest indoor roller coaster, all pitch black. You can't see a thing. It is a little bit more exciting if you're at the back, which was pretty surprising actually. I didn't think it would be anywhere near as good as it was. But yeah, it's somewhat cool. Not particularly forceful or intense or anything, but just generally quite an interesting attraction. Then we have Rake, which is pretty much a Vekoma Junior boomerang coaster. It's quite tall, it's quite a decent drop, somewhat forceful, nothing too special, but quite good for kids and such and families. But where this park really shines through is with its water rides. So pretty much River Crest is quite possibly the best rapids I've ever been on. Kind of don't want to spoil it, but pretty much it involves having a lift to the top, followed by a huge drop. Little quick news flash for people: if you are, if you go into the lift last, so if you're pretty much facing the wall of it, you will get absolutely soaked when you drop down the other side, because you pretty much go out the same way you came in, and you will get absolutely soaked. And then we have an incredibly cool whirlpool element, which is set right in the middle of the really cool castle kind of theme they've got, and that's really cool. You just spin round, and that's complete luck of the draw. Me and my friends, and especially me, got absolutely soaked on it when we went on it one of the times. It's an absolutely quality ride. There was actually a third drop as well, which is the only one you can actually get a picture of, and it's really, really cool. I can't believe quite how wet you get on it at points. But it's really well themed, really well thought out, really interesting kind of water ride. I think I've only ever been on one other rapids with a drop, and that was at Disney, the Animal Kingdom one there, which is really cool. That got me soaked as well. So yeah, it's a bit of a soaker. Great if it's for one day. Then they also have Chair Pass, which is just a stunningly good log flume. It has a final drop, which most roller coasters would be pretty ashamed of. It's just a really good attraction. It has 3 drops in total, including a backwards drop, which is just so cool. You can't quite believe that they managed to cram so much into space, because it properly reaves through their other attractions. I mean, I think either the second or first drop is right next to where the lifter is for Black Mamba and stuff like that. It really, really is tightly packed in, and the first lifter was in between 2 of the Colorado Adventure lift hills. It's just properly tucked in there, and it's a really cool ride. You get somewhat wet on it. You get a little bit of airtime as you come out of the first drop as well. It's a really, really good ride, really well themed, really well thought out. They do that with lots of their rides. They tend to take them to the next level. It's a very simple concept, and they just improve upon it and just make it really, really enjoyable and pretty special. Apparently, though, it was broken down a few days before we went, and had been broken down for a few weeks. So pretty happy we actually managed to get on it in some ways. And then lastly, for the major rides, we have Talican, which is pretty much a top scan. And they could have just done what Ripsaw or Ramesses Revenge are in the UK, and just had a little bit of theming and a few water effects, and that'd be it. No, let's throw some fire in there. Let's completely theme the back wall up, so it has lots of Aztec/Inca kind of theming and such like that. Let's also have water effects. Let's have some really dramatic, cool music. Let's set the fire to interact with when you spin. And let's make it so it's really easy to view from pretty much a viewing area just in front of the ride, just elevated. And there's actually also windows you can look through behind it as well, which is just insanely cool attention to detail. It's really, really, really forceful as well. It's literally set to a really intense setting, and it just makes it so much more enjoyable than the other top scans I've been on around the world. It's probably one of the best thrill rides I've ever been on, and a really good ride to have at the park. They do have a couple of dark rides as well. They have a really cool kind of chocolate-themed kind of shooter ride, which is really cool. Maybe a bit too long, and the mechanism to launch the gun is a little bit tiring after a period of time. But overall, it's a park with a good selection of rides and attractions. And mainly this park just looks really pretty. It's really well maintained. It's really well cleaned and kept. Just a generally really, really impressive part to be in. A really enjoyable part to be in as well. Only downside, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to find out where you're going or where you need to go. And some of the attractions. So for example, I haven't actually mentioned Mystery Castle at the minute because it's a little bit forgettable. That's probably one of the weakest rides at the park. It's really, really, really well themed, really cool. It actually has live actors in it at points as well, but just a little bit disappointed with its launch and drop tower additions. It's really cool. It looks really pretty as well. But yeah, now unfortunately, it's a little bit difficult to find some of the rides, and there's a load of hills as well and stairs and stuff like that, which is a little bit of a extra effort and energy you have to put into it, unfortunately. Overall, though, the park is really cool. For food places, we only went to one place, unfortunately, for proper food, which managed to get some pizza, nachos, and a drink for €7, which isn't too bad. Did also manage to get some chocolatey cake stuff as well later in the day, which is also really tasty. Now it's about €3 and such. You can get a bus from the nearby town, which is €3 as well per person, which doesn't take too long. The front entrance of Phantasialand is really, really uninspired and doesn't really set any sort of precedent for what the rest of the park is like. I'd be very surprised if they don't change that sooner or later. It's just so boring. I don't know quite what they were thinking. Ticket wise, it was about €47 or such, about 40 something pounds, and it doesn't represent great value for money in some ways. It's more reasonable than anything else, and it's something where obviously they are improving and building new attractions. So I appreciate why it does cost more, and it's a park which generally has reasonable like attendance figures. It's about 1.7 million people visit each year, which is really cool. And hopefully that's will continue to expand and improve, and that number will go up. It's a little bit kind of under the radar as such at the minute, with like Heidi Park, Europa Park being in the same country, and it's not difficult to get to. It's just not simple to get to either. It takes like a train and like a bus to get to from Cologne. So it's a park which generally left me very impressed. I was very happy I went there. Tyrone is world class, no doubts about that. I will be honest, Chiapas and River Crest are both world class as well, in fairness, and so is Talican. Yeah, that's also world class. It's actually one of the parks where it's very much a day park at the minute, but give it 10 years and it will be a easy long weekend park. I think it already has a couple of hotels as well, which is really, really cool. It's definitely going in the right direction. Anyway, guys, like, comment, and subscribe for theme park information, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.